Welcome to the Creative Marketing Show. I'm your host, Rosh Sillars. It's great to have all of you here. Those of you who are here live, it's 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on a Monday. I've been doing these 4 o'clock more regularly. I've just found that there's been more interaction at 4 o'clock on Mondays than there have been on during noon on Mondays. So here we are. 4 o'clock on Monday, Eastern Standard Time, and it's great to have you here. And those of you who are catching me on the replay, you are welcome. And of course, put your comments below, any thoughts that you might want to add to the conversation. And this week in this show, we're talking about the strategies that I have been using in social, especially related to repurposing content and how to get all that information out there. And there are a number of important things that you can do. And that's what I want to get into. That's what this conversation is all about. And I'm looking forward to sharing a lot of good information. If you want to catch me on the YouTube channel, you can go to rosh.video, and that'll take you over to my YouTube channel. It's also YouTube/Rosh Sillars. You'll catch me that way. And one thing I'm doing more of is creating longer videos. I think they are working out really well for the audience. They're getting a little bit more play with YouTube, just a little more. They keep growing. And so we'll see how that goes. I think it's true all across the board. You know, when it comes to Google, social, all of it is getting into this higher quality, longer form content. And there's still place for short form content, and we'll talk about what we can do with that as we get into this whole idea of repurposing and sharing. Let me get into one of the biggest things that I'm doing right now. I've been experimenting, and I'll give you an example of it, and that is starting off with video. We have the mobile first thing going, it's all about mobile first. Well, I think, when it comes to social, it's video first. We're in a video first world. And, I think I need to write a little bit more about that. Not just mobile first, but video first. And why do I say that? So the other day, I created about a 15-minute video on Facebook organic reach. Now, I was a little bummed that I didn't get as much play as I would like, but then I realized people were watching it. I was getting 10 minutes out of 15, people watching 2/3 to 75% of the video. And that includes the people like accidentally hit it, like you watched it once and then you accidentally hit it again. And so between the two, that's 50% watched, right? So that hurts my metrics, but obviously that's no big deal. That it happens to all of us, and we just have to take that into account. But it's still growing right now. People watched it today. People watched it yesterday, and so it seems to have that snowball effect. And I think a lot of that is because it is longer format. It has a good click-through rate. These are things that are important for YouTube. Good click-through rate. People watching for a long time on the video. All is well when you're doing that. And so, hey, this may go somewhere. So I'm doing more of these. But what I'm also doing is I took that video and I went to Otter.ai. Otter.ai is artificial intelligence. That's the AI. And what it does, now there are other ways to go about this, but this is one of the better ones available today. I run my YouTube video into my phone. I just put it next to the speaker, and Otter transcribes it. And when that 15 minutes was a 2,500 word article. Now, do I leave it like that? No. Now, let me get into the audio portion in a few minutes. But what I was able to do is have the base of a good 2,500 word article. Some sections I would take out, maybe like a call to action, like, hey, subscribe to my channel. And hey, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, this is a good idea. Or even a podcast on Stitcher Radio, as well as SoundCloud and iTunes. Okay, that's out of the way. But if you've not done so, you should do so. And so now I have the basis of this article, And I was able to go through and put in headlines, clean it up. Maybe some of the grammar wasn't the greatest. It's interesting to read how you talk. And yeah, maybe some of the words were wrong, but not many. It really was pretty darn good. And they give you like 600 minutes free at otter.ia. And a lot of people are using this. You may have heard about this before. I've heard of a few people starting to use this program. It seems to be one of the best. Now, another way, so anyway, I have a nice long article, and I'm using it I used it on roshsillars.com. And then I also took a version of it and I localized it and put it on my agency website, focused more on the Detroit community. Just rewriting some of the headlines and just tightening up the whole thing and making it a better piece of content again. And each time you go through it, you make it a better piece of content. And now let's talk about this video right now. Now, this video is also a podcast. Once again, dual purpose. Now, I could, if I wanted to, go to otter.io and put this video or audio into the system and have it spit out the different the text. Excuse me. Wouldn't that be interesting? I haven't done that before, and quite honestly, Google isn't that interested in indexing podcasts when you have the same formula every single time, just the bullet points, the way I have it. There was a time you could rank with stuff like that, but not today. I actually recommended people put in bullet points and things like that as part of, maybe with their photographs to help rank their photograph. Today, it doesn't work quite that way. Now, what about these videos? There are different sections to those videos. So you can cut up those videos and share them. You can share them on LinkedIn. Maybe you have a really good point, a really good piece of information, and you can cut out sections, maybe out of a 15-minute video. Maybe there are 5, 7 different sections that you could cut up, put maybe a front and end on, maybe brand it, and then share every couple of days a new one on LinkedIn or on Twitter. Another way to continuously repurpose and reuse that content. One of the things I'm going to talk about is how I've been using bots. This isn't all about repurposing. And also I'm going to talk about display advertising and some best practices. But I'll get into that in a few moments. You can also take out sections of the written content, and you can take those sections and put it in Facebook. Take those sections, put it in let's see, where would we want to put it in? Oh, Twitter would be a great one. Take a little section, put that in. If you have photographs, which is very possible, you can share those on Pinterest. And that could, of course, lead back to maybe your blog. So there are a lot of different things you can do. So don't think of your content as a one-time deal. Think about how many times you can use it. And in these days, I think more and more people are going with the idea of video first. Get the video done, and then you can create a lot of other pieces of content with it. How powerful is that? And for me, I think video is easy. Now, you may feel that, I don't like being in front of the camera. I get that. I'm not necessarily the first person. That's why I'm a photographer. That's my degrees in photography, because I like being behind the camera, not necessarily in front, but I do like educating. And when I educate people and I share information, that's why I get in front of the camera, get in front of the microphone, because I enjoy that element. I enjoy the sharing of information, and that's how I get into it. But you're going to have to get over that if you want to, I think, use this strategy that I think is going to continue to be one of the number one strategies out there, is video first. Okay, let's talk about bots and using bots as part of social. There are a number of things that I think you can do, and I shared this on a recent video. I actually have a video coming up. Actually, it may be Tuesday or Wednesday's video. I shared this story. I'm going to share it with you again here because I think it's really important. I am just exploring with bots, as many people are. And if you are interested in exploring it with message bots specifically for, say, Facebook, you can go to ManyChat, MANY chat.com. That's probably one of the more popular bots systems out there. And it really is a lot easier than you think. If you're just kind of concerned, look, the main thing right now that I think more than one person has said as of late is don't make these things try to be too human. Don't try to trick people with bots. Try to make them your assistant. And one of the things we're doing is that we're advertising with the opportunity to opt into a bot. But what does that mean? What are you doing with that? Well, if you have something think of it this way. Maybe you have an email list and you have earned those emails by offering a download of some sort, some good information. Well, you can get even a little more creative with this now. We have a bot that offers the opportunity for people to opt in based on something related to the weather. And so if they want more information on the weather in certain times, then they can opt in, and the company will send them updated information related to that weather event or things related to the weather. I'm trying not to get into too much of a detail, but what is it that you can offer that people would like regular updates on? If you're in finance, what are some finance things you can offer regular updates on? If you're in the mortgage business, what are the current rates? Hey, I'll update, the bot will update you every, 10 days or every week or every Monday or Friday or when it changes. Or, what information related to your industry? And for photographers, for creatives, what is it that you could offer that changes? Information. And people will opt in to get that information from you. And maybe it's an interesting photo of the day. People can opt in with a bot and you can share a photo of a day. I mean, there are a lot of things you could do like that. So think about something that you can continuously, regularly share, or every once in a while that you can share. And so people opt in, and then you can send them the information just like you would an email, but through Facebook Messenger and other messaging systems. And it's, again, if you can do email, if you can set up an email campaign, believe it or not, you can set up a bot. It's not that hard. It really is easy. So consider the bots. I am just getting in a little bit more each day, trying to come up with new ideas to support the customers. So with my client, when that weather event comes up, they're going to offer that information, but then there's support behind that weather event, and that's the client. And so if you need some support in some way, they're there. It's not pushing it. You're offering information. But by the way, if you need some help, just click this button and we'll get to you. So those kinds of things. And these bots can have conversations. You can go back and forth and you can kind of work this out. You can get more and more complex with these bots, but start off simply. If you do that, you'll be much happier. And I think you might be hooked. We'll see how the campaign goes. The campaign isn't fully underway. I have it set up. I've written everything. I've done everything I needed to do. But it does fall under that kind of marketing automation umbrella, but it's social automation, which, oh my goodness, I'm not super thrilled about. But it has more of that email feel, more of that feel of I'm providing, they're opting into information that we will provide them. And that doesn't mean if you have a few thousand people and there's something else related, or you want to give a special related, you can't. Doesn't mean you can't not send something related. You can. Of course you can. I mean, they've opted into your list, and they can always just type in stop and they'll stop receiving. So just like the unsubscribe button. So easy enough. Okay. Display advertising, especially as it relates to social media. Another area that I've been working more and more in, obviously Facebook ads, we have Instagram ads. You also have a lot going on with Adwords. And let me explain something that's going on with Adwords that I think is really neat. They just created something you probably thought of many times before if you've run AdWords. Why don't you just put in a list of headlines and descriptions, and then they can mix and match them until they find the best combination for people to best click-through rate and conversion? Well, guess what? It's here. So you can put in 5, 7, as many headlines as you want in a number of descriptions, and the AI will start to find the right audience and mix and match them until they find the best combination that gets the click-through rates and ultimately conversions that are winning the day. That's huge. Now, in some cases, I'm still beating that. Well, not a lot of times I'm still beating the bot on click-through rate, definitely in conversions. But in some areas, the AI is starting to beat me in the click-through rates, but not necessarily the conversions. But it's getting smarter. I'm not. I'm not getting so much smarter. So I have a feeling that over time, these AIs are going to beat us, and they're just learning how to do this better and better. And this is a really exciting advance. But when it comes taking a step back, talking about social media and what is it you need to focus on in terms of improving your results, it really has a lot to do with the audiences. The audiences are really important. Understanding your audiences and who would be interested in that product or service. A lot of times we focus on keywords when it comes to search, and we're very used to doing that. We're used to optimizing our website for search. Now we have to optimize our ads for audience and our landing pages for audience. And it's really nice because you can create these audiences related to websites that, let's say that you want to attract, well, let's say photographers. Well, then you can create an audience that's related to American Society of Media Photographers, PPA, and other types, AMA. You can find the photographers. People who are going to those websites are photographers who are interested in improving their photography and or the business of photography and so forth. And so the Google knows the people that go to those websites, so they will advertise to those types of people. And if you're an architectural photographer, well, then what are the websites that architects go to? AIA, right? And you can build out from there. So there are a number of ways you can create audiences that will truly help you, whatever and whoever your target market is. It really is amazing. So when you're looking at these things, yeah, it's good to create an interesting headline. It is good to have good art with your ad, and it's great to have a super landing page and so forth. But ultimately, finding and offering up different types of audiences for the AI to go out and find to match up with your ads, that's going to be the winning combination. You're going to have a winning combination when you take the time to research and find out. Did you know that you can see what other people are doing, the types of ads that they are running in Facebook? It's relatively new. What you need to do is go to the Facebook page of your competitor. If they're running ads, if they're not, it won't be there. But you go down and it'll show ads on the left-hand side down. I think it's the last option. It'll say something to the effect of ads, ads running or ads run by this page. And you can see the actual ads. Now, you don't know all the details behind it, but you can see the ads that they're running. You're going to have to assume that the ads that they're running are working or are some of their best ads, or maybe you can get ideas that you can test yourself. Research is really important for social media advertising, so you can figure out what those best headlines are for the audience that you're trying to attract. It's pretty amazing stuff. It continues to get better and better. Let's talk about some of the social media best practices. That's certainly, I think, really important today. Being there really when social was taking off, just people trying to figure out what are those best practices. I think one of the things that I have certainly struggled with, and I've been candid about this from from the beginning, or at least especially in the last few years, is just being able to connect and understand who you are, not trying to be someone else. And in some cases, it's tough for people to connect with you unless you're pretending, but you can only pretend for so long. And so I've never pretended that I was somebody that I'm not. But again, I've had trouble connecting with audiences. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. It's our favorite visitor guide. And so taking the time to understand who you are and who you are in social media will make a big difference. And accept and embrace your quirks. Embrace who you are. Again, trying to be somebody else is not going to work in the long term. But if you really can, just think about this. And I think this was one of the things, if you look at cartoons, you think of the biggest cartoons or even the actors of the world, think of situations where I said to think of cartoons because they had this whole concept in Roger Rabbit. Remember those cartoons from years and years ago, the movies, and how it really is that odd thing, that quirk. You look at all the Warner Brothers cartoons. What's the quirk that each one of their cartoon animals has? And characters has. And there was always this quirk, and that's what kept you coming back. You related or didn't relate or thought it was funny. And it's the same with actors. A lot of actors have done very well because they had this quirk about them. And trying to be perfect, when you let that vulnerability down, that you can really go further in your social media and connect with people better over time. And I have found that certainly to be the case, even through any kind of struggles I've had in terms of making those connections. And I don't know what it is, on my part, but again, we all have those questions in our mind. And so just being myself has allowed me to build a good community that has taken me around the world, that has offered me incredible opportunities. Now, there are people who are really, really funny, and there are some people who have more knowledge than you. You're always going to find somebody who has more. They're always somebody. I was honestly, just candidly, I was complaining over on a Facebook group the other day about a video that had all the right metrics, but really wasn't doing that great. And I feel bad about complaining about it, but sometimes you got to vent a little bit. But the fact is, there are some people in that group looking at him and saying, what's he complaining about? He has over 1,000 subscribers. And then there are some people who are saying, well, he only has 1,000 subscribers, So there are people who wish they had 1,000 subscribers and wish they had those statistics that I was sharing. There are other people who are looking and saying, wow, hey, better luck next time. There's always someone who is coming up from behind, and there's always somebody who's miles ahead. Just be happy with where you are as long as you're moving forward and progressing. Every area of social media has a different level of speed of growth. Brian G. Johnson just had no, it wasn't Brian G. Excuse me, vidIQ. Folks at vidIQ just did a video on the Fortnite guy who Ninja. He's in it's about a year, and he has 15 million subscribers. It was a combination of, hey, a great personality, great timing, and a subject that's hot. What else do you need? Well, not everybody is going to have all those three things at the exact same time. He could have waited another 6 months and never have been, where he is today. Somebody else would have jumped in with the charisma needed and ability to do what he does. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe he has the credentials. Maybe he got it at the right time, but he didn't have the personality that was connecting. But that's not the case. Ninja was able to do it and does it. And he has 15 million subscribers. So everybody has a different path and different direction. And the key is to compete against yourself more than you're competing with other people. You have no idea where other people are coming from. You see a blog and you say, wow, that blog's doing great. Or that Instagram account's doing great. Why can I I not do that? Well, it's very possible that they have a great email list. They have a great Instagram account that's feeding that. They've worked before. It's often, and I know we've talked about this in the last few episodes. Yeah, I'll get to that in a sec. Visitor guide, machine learning. I'll talk about that in a moment. And actually, if you rewind a little bit, you'll see that we did talk a little bit about that for social media, but I'll address it a little bit more. But ultimately, you just have to know that if you compete against yourself, you're going to be much better off. You're going to be moving forward. If you try to worry about what everybody else is going to do, you're going to drive yourself into the ground. Believe me. Yeah, let's talk about machine learning and what's going on there. There is a lot of areas in which machine learning is happening. And when we talked about advertising and the AI and machine learning and how we focus on audiences, but there is a lot of automated stuff going on. And, it's happening in search engine optimization. A good number of your search results are artificial intelligence serving it up. In other words, there are a lot of data points that we can provide, information, and the access to machine learning data is in results is becoming more and more accessible to us. But one thing we need to consider in all of this is that we still have us. We still have biases. And when you provide data and to ask specific questions to AIs, that data could still be skewed based on your opinion and where you want, or maybe you're guiding that information. It will continue to become more and more a part the next few years, just like we talked about with the bots and so forth. We talked about that earlier, using bots. It's going to help take away some of the repetitive tasks, just like the machines did, say, in manufacturing. The machines took away a lot. Something that would take 50 people now takes one person to run the machine. A similar kind of a thing is going to happen with the repetitive tasks in our marketing. And that's going to be okay. One thing that I've learned, and we talked about how Adwords now allows us to pick 5-7 headlines and create a few descriptions, and it'll match them all up and the AI will find the best combination. Well, wait a minute. What is this taking away from me? No, it's making my ideas better and actually testing my ideas more efficiently. So what AI is going to do for us and machine learning is going to do for us is allow us to spend more time being creative rather than digging in the weeds of making sure that all of the levers are pushed and things are done right and that we're bidding on this correctly and we're going about that properly. We can just sit back and say, okay, I have a few ideas here and I think these things will be good. Or, for example, quite often in advertising, we have a committee, I say that 20 times. We have a committee of people trying to do the advertising. And say you have 7-8 people in a boardroom and they're trying to figure out how to market and advertise the company. And everybody has an idea. And there's some great ideas in that boardroom. But some people don't like some of them and some people are scoffing at the others. And ultimately that best awesome idea is thrown to the side. The cutting edge idea that could really cut through the noise is cast aside. And they go for an average idea that satisfies everybody and they get nowhere. Well, with this type of AI information, we could take all 8 ideas and put them into the system and see which one works first. And that can be a positive scenario. Let's see. We have a question coming in. Did you giving positive and negative comments on your competitor? Do I give positive or negative comments on my competitors? In other words, do I interact with my competitors in a positive or negative way, like in reviews and stuff? Is that what you're talking about? If you clarify, that would be helpful. But anyway, so that's what the AI is going to do for us. And this is true in social. And just think about it. Maybe we have a few headlines. Maybe I have not seen anything like this, but maybe we could actually start doing testing with Twitter. Maybe we have a new blog post. And in some ways we can do that now, but maybe we could just say, hey, Twitter, here are 3 headlines for this blog post, and send out all 3 and then tell me the results. Or, after 1,000 people see it, just show the rest of the time, kind of like email, when we do it. Let's see. Yeah, simple. It's a simple method in SEO tools. Did you go? Okay. I not sure about that one. Okay. Sorry. Sometimes we get confused in our connection here. As I said, it's probably me, like I said last time. But I do always appreciate your questions and thoughts when you come visit. Okay. So the last few things I want to talk about are the community, the combination community. I'm really starting to ramp that up, and I think it's important. Most social media depends, especially like Facebook and YouTube, on an initial jump from your community on that post. And if you can get people to your YouTube channel, if you can get people to your Facebook, if you can get people to your Instagram early on and interact and engage and comment, you're going to encourage those social media AIs to share your stuff a little bit more. So that's really important. So one of the things you can do is create a community. And a community of like-minded people who are interested. And here we're trying to create a community of people who are trying to find the right success combinations, combining different things to their businesses, to their marketing, to find those machines, to find the right combinations for success. And we have to test these things, keep testing. And that's one of my jobs, is to find new things and concepts and ideas and processes to share with you, information that I've learned out on the street. And sometimes you guys bring great stuff to the table, and we test them and we combine them with our businesses to see if they work. Or maybe it doesn't work in one of our businesses, but I say, you know what? I think it could work in this type of business. And so I'll put that aside. And of course, some of you who come and say, hey, I have this kind of business. I say, hey, why don't you try this? Combine this with your business, combine this with your marketing, and see if it works for you. And so the combination community in Facebook, it has about 50 people in it right now. It was set up a number of years ago. And so a lot of them are my friends and associates that I know. But I really want to build and offer something. Okay, let me get to this question. The visitor's guide. Did you know some ads going on simple method in SEO tools? Find your competitor and write positive and negatives. Oh, okay. Interesting. No, I did not know that was something. I mean, it doesn't surprise me that you can do that. If you want to do some negative SEO by writing negative reviews, but sometimes, like for example, there's somebody who seems to regularly give me a thumbs down on my videos. It's going to happen. It happens to everyone. That's fine. But the reality is, I encourage it. If they're going to keep coming back and giving me a thumbs down, that's engagement. And that's actually what YouTube is looking for. They don't care whether it's thumbs up or thumbs down. They see that at engagement. And when they do that, when that person's giving me a thumbs down, they're actually helping the AI send it out to more people because it's causing interaction. So yeah, that's interesting. Visitor guide, that you can do that and have them go out and comment on your competitors. I generally don't worry about my competitors so much. I just worry about me and focusing on what I can do better. I get more bang for my buck by just taking the time and improving what I do, because the amount of energy and time it takes. I mean, there are some negative SEO methods that can take people down, but Google again is getting smarter and smarter, and some of those things don't work as well as they used to. They may have an initial effect, but then over time things even back out, and Google kind of figures it out that just ignore. They for example, in the past, you could send a whole bunch of really bad links to a website, and you can still do that today. And it may have a negative effect for a while, but eventually Google won't necessarily penalize you for those links. They'll just ignore them. And if they ignore those links, then your website pops back up because you have all these other good links. So there are ways, and but if you're spending so much time trying to put bad comments on other people's stuff, you could get a lot further with the same amount of time and same amount of effort, trying to improve what you're doing and do what you do better and better serve your customer and finding better ways to get the word out. And that's what I have found. So anyway, very good. I'm going to wrap it up using we can solve the problem. Tom versus CRM. Customer service management, or Tom, I don't know what you mean by that. It's interesting that we, a lot of our conversations back and forth, I appreciate all of your input, but sometimes we, ORM versus CRM. Oh, okay. No, I don't. I don't have ORM versus CRM. No, I guess not. Using CRMs, customers relationship manager, is that what you're speaking of? Obviously doing that. I'm not sure what ORM. Maybe I'm just blanking there. Okay. Thank you so much for your questions and your thoughts. And I appreciate you being here. As always, despite our communication gap, sometimes you are much appreciated being here, Visitor Guide. It always is the case. And those of you who are listening on online reputation management, thank you. Well, that wasn't so hard. I guess I've never thought much about ORM versus CRM. Well, customer relationship management and online those are two different things, really. One, online reputation management is about you. Customer relationship management is about them. If I'm going to focus on one, I'm going to focus on them because they are the customer. And the more I can focus on them, the better off I'm going to do. To solve negative comments, I have clients who come to me all the time and complain about negative comments. This is the recommendation I give them. Look, respond if you can. If you can respond with something positive, like a solution to their problem. And if they respond back negatively again, you can offer something else, or just let them be negative. In other words, I like, especially when it's a fresh comment, be really nice and show that you're trying to solve the problem. If it's an older comment, do the same thing. Show, hey, some cases, these people aren't even your customers, and say, oh, I'm so sorry. We don't have you in our database. Could you give us more information so we can help you out? Things like that. And if people see that you are trying to solve the problem of the person who put a negative comment, they're going to appreciate it. People are actually suspicious of 5 out of 5 stars every time. It's okay to have 4.5, 4 stars on things. And when you have a negative comment and you show that you're showing initiative, people will read this and, oh, look, the company is trying. And if that person comes back and says, you're just a big jerk, I don't care what you say or how you do, I'm never, you know what? Then people can just see they're kind of crazy. let their own comments and their own, you keep trying to be very nice, down to earth, calm, even keeled, and the people commenting are just off the rails crazy. That's what I like to show. And that works out pretty well because then the people reading the comments can get the idea themselves. And that's the way I go about it. So never swear back, never be mean, because that's there forever. And that represents you. So your reputation is what you're managing. So yes, if there's nothing wrong. And again, it depends on how big of a company you have. But a CRM, obviously, being out there and connecting with people and worrying about and managing that, that's probably a much more valuable part of your time, but both valuable. And sorry for my ORM not understanding. I guess I've never seen it like that before, or just didn't recognize. So good stuff. Great questions. I am wrapping it up now. Check out, make sure you subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. Leave comments. Those of you who hit the replay, thank you so much. And put your questions and thoughts in your comments below. And especially those of you saying, how in the world could he not know what online reputation management is? I do, but it's the ORM. Okay. Let's see. What else? What else do we have? Nothing else. We'll talk to you next Monday. How about that? Next Monday, looking forward to seeing you. 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time is the time I've been generally coming online, but I will put something out there to remind you. So if you hit the bell, you'll be notified. Just like our friend, the Visitor's Guide, I bet he sees the bell. You hit the bell. I know you did because you keep coming and back, and I appreciate it. We'll talk to you next time.